it work. Okay.
Says we're live. Hello, hello. Wonder what our lag will be like this week.
It's pretty bad right now. I'm
hi,
still waiting for. Here we go. Now I see it.
Still not up on my device. Oh, there. Now. Oh, it is hard to look cute when I am this cold. I'm so cold. But look, I got my little flower brooch and my flower earrings and my flower rings because it's supposed to be spring.
Yep. Flower ring.
I love it. Even though it's only 44 degrees here. It was 74 yesterday. So cold. Hi, Kathy.
And Becky. Yes, we had gorgeous weather. It was in the 80s. It almost hit 90 degrees. It was 87 degrees where I live.
You were so warmer than we were. Wow.
Oh, I was so excited. And I loved it. But then I got told I couldn't go outside and do anything because the pollen was really high and there was an air quality alert. So I wanted to clean the deck off. So I couldn't even go and enjoy that. So I'm a little congested today.
Yes,
so I'm sorry.
Cold. Very cold.
Yeah. And it's damp. That's what's worse about it. It's cold and damp. This is like March weather right now. It's cold and damp. And I'm done.
Mm-hmm. It's gross. Gross. Don't like it. Hi, Mary.
Oh. Oof. Yes. Well, I'm lucky it's not windy.
It's windy here.
Oh, which means I'll get that tomorrow. It'll be that. Your guys' weather is usually my weather the next day.
Yep.
Hey, Cass.
Hi, Cass.
Oh, goodness.
There's a bunch of Ohioans in here this morning. And we're all freezing.
Yes. So I'm going to apologize for any congestion.
So we didn't get a lot of questions. The one question we got was from Becky. Thank you for asking a question. And she had this gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous vase. Oh my goodness, so gorgeous. And Nikki did find something where the bottom of the vase was close, but just looking at, I couldn't find anything, but just looking at it is, I would say it's definitely antique. It's beautiful, beautiful. Well, I'll let Nikki tell you what she found on that vase. Hi, Bree.
Yes, it does, Kathy. But yeah, what I found was the bottom medallion. It's very, very, very fancy and very, very ornate. And I really wish I could find, somebody had posted on Instagram a while ago, a whole picturama of all the bottom medallions and who usually made them. Because sometimes you can tell the company that made them by the medallions on the bottom. So the closest I came was a piece of antique Indiana carnival glass called Independence Hall. And the bottom of it was almost identical to the bottom of your piece, Becky. So if I had to take a wild guess, an educated guess, I would say maybe you got a piece of antique Indiana glass there. But
you have to remember, Indiana Glass acquired other companies' molds. So
yeah. And they were
both definitely think it's antique.
Yes.
It is beautiful.
And if you don't own two of them, somebody has exactly those two posted up on Etsy, and even they couldn't identify them, and they have them listed as unusual green vases. That's how they're listed. So I thought that was good.
Yeah, it's so hard with the hundreds of glass companies that we've had in the United States since the 1800s, and then it could have been imported. It may not even be from the United States, could be from England, could be from somewhere else. So just never know. So I'm going to talk about glassware. So let me make myself big. No, what did I do? Hit too many buttons at once.
Well, everything still looks like it's functioning. Okay, there we go.
I didn't shut us off. Hi, Rebecca.
Oh, you couldn't find one posted? Yeah, I found a couple people who had them posted. One person on Etsy, and they had two of them up there. I just thought it was weird.
So I'm going to go over vintage glassware and some modern pieces and show you some differences. So some of these glasses you'll recognize right off, and others you may be like, oh, is that what that's for? So first glasses are cocktail glasses and martini glasses because both have a cone shape. So it's going to be narrow at the bottom. On the just the cocktail glasses. And then martini glasses, of course, we all know what, I don't have one, but we all know what those look like. They look like the triangle on top of a stem. And I love this one.
That's a neat one.
It's mine. It's on my collection, but I love that it's got the stars on it. So they are used for drinks. The martini specifically with the stem is used for drinks that are between 3 to 6 ounces served without ice. And vintage cocktail glasses are going to be much smaller than modern day cocktail glasses. And we find that that is the thing with almost all of them. Vintage glasses are going to be smaller. And I have a couple of theories why. Also, I did find a reference that in England, there was an excise tax. So they kept the size of glasses small, but that would not explain why glassware was smaller here. But here's why I think glassware was smaller. Because you mixed up the drinks and put them into a pitcher to serve them. So you would go into the living room for cocktails and you would pass that around so your glass would be smaller. Kind of my thinking. But of course, like our dinner plates have gotten bigger as we ourselves have gotten bigger over the years.
Exactly.
So that's the first one. Cocktail / martini glasses. They're going to cone out at the top.
And martini glasses are made that way to torture waitresses carrying them to a table on a tray because they inevitably spill.
They always spill.
It will spill.
But you're only supposed to be putting a very small amount of a drink in them without ice. You want bigger glasses for ice. So you've got your highball and your Collins glass. Collins glasses are going to be much thinner and taller. And see, that's how we know thinner and taller, because it's right down inside of a highball glass. These are made for serving drinks over ice. And the glass is designed to have the ice almost up to the top. You're going to pour your drink in there and it's going to dilute with the ice as you drink it. And these are typically 10 ounces, but they can be anywhere from 8 to 16 ounces. Definitely newer ones are going to be bigger. And then you've got, and I've got a modern one, your lowball glass. This came right out of my mom. Now, my parents don't drink. They just have a set of drinking glasses. But you got your lowball glass. And these were 6 to 8 ounces. They're for short mixed drinks that are usually going to be on the rocks. And if you're fancy, you're going to have one of those round ice cube. I love those.
Minus gold, of course, but yes, I have one.
Angela's telling us how to drink a martini. You get down low to the table.
If you're a waitress and you're supposed to take those to a table, you can't take a sip of them. Believe me, I've tried. It doesn't work.
So I did not have a margarita glass. Those are the double bowl design. We pretty much all know what they look like. They're really wide rim for dipping the salt in, anywhere from 6 to 20 ounces, unless you've got a novelty giant one that everybody's drinking out of. Shot glasses. I don't actually have a shot glass, but I have an Anchor Hawking measurer that is basically a shot glasses. Shot glasses are 1 to 2 ounces, strictly for taking a shot. They're basically the shape, although there are layered shots you'll do in a taller, thinner shot glass so that you can see all the layers, which is kind of cool. And an interesting thing I learned when I was researching this is that a lot of bars will do really heavy bottom glasses for 2 reasons. One, because it makes the glass look bigger, but it's not, so they're shorting you on the alcohol. And I didn't forget the highball glass. That's the highball glass. What did I forget, Kathy? And 2, because then when they get set down roughly on a bar, they're not going to break. So a lot of barware in an actual bar is specifically made to be very heavy bottomed. So it looks like you're getting more of a drink than you actually are. That saves some money, and the glasses aren't going to break very easily. Champagne glasses. I don't have a champagne flute. which is not typically a vintage thing. That's more of a modern thing. And the reason for the tall, thin flute is to keep the bubbles from dissipating too fast. But very vintagey on a champagne coupe right here. And then I have one probably 1970s. Look at the size difference.
Oh my.
So definitely going with size difference there. And then stemmed glasses are made so that you hold them by the stem so you are not warming up the drink that is in it.
Which, like, only a real connoisseur of fine wines and champagnes do. Everybody else is just kind of like, yep, I'm holding it by the little bowl. We're so bad.
Champagne glasses, you typically 7 to 11 ounces. And then they also have a tulip design in vintage champagne glasses. So if you've ever seen this one, you're like, what is that for? It's a tulip design champagne glass. And so it flares out. These were also good if you were making a mixed champagne drink. So
champagne cocktails. And there's another fancy one they drank in Casablanca.
Okay, Kathy, this is a low ball. This is a high ball. And the high ball differs from the Collins because the Collins glass is going to be skinnier and taller. Now, highball glasses currently
are different.
May be totally different, yeah. But this is a highball glass, a vintage glass, and this is a modern lowball glass. So I have seen vintage lowball glasses that were pretty much like this. They're just smaller. They're not as round and they're not as tall.
I've got one that's a little slightly flared. That's a lowball glass. Yeah.
Yeah. If you had a vintage lowball next to the vintage highball, you would see it's a much smaller lowball glass. Okay, so beer glasses. I think pretty much everybody knows what beer glasses look like. I don't have any. A pint is tall and tapered with straight sides, about 16 ounces. If you chill them ahead of time, then you don't warm them up too fast with your hand when you're drinking them. Pilsner glasses, 10 to 14 ounces. They're used for lagers. The wide rim on both these glasses allows for a good head on the beer. And then...
Oh, Kaz, I think those are Tom Collins glasses, the horse glasses that you have.
We've got the beer mug, which allows you to hold the beer without warming it. But these can also be chilled beforehand too. But beer mug, 10 to 14 ounces on beer mugs. Irish coffee glass. Now, I don't have a vintage one because it broke. My favorite milk glass broke. But Mom had one. It's got her name on it, Kat. The modern ones do not have the amount of pedestal that the vintage ones have. So vintage one, you're definitely going to have way more of a pedestal than the modern ones. But the Irish coffee, 8 to 10 ounces to make your Irish coffee in. Hurricane glass. I don't have any, but they were actually named after vintage hurricane lamps. 10 to 12 ounces, and they're often used for frozen drinks like pina coladas. Brandy snifter. Now, no matter the size, this is a smaller brandy snifter. You've seen them giant. You still only put a tiny amount of brandy in them, even if they're the much bigger ones. The bowls are shaped like this for a couple different reasons. 2 ounces of brandy goes in no matter the size. That's a serving of brandy is 2 ounces. The bowl shape allows for watching it swirl, noticing its legs and colors, and taking in the aromas that get trapped because of the bowl shape, which I thought was pretty cool. And I picked these up, 50 cents a piece, came from France, and they're going to my brother-in-law. He's been waiting on these.
You can also
like, you found them for me?
Zambuca.
I'm like, yeah, I found them, but you can't have them yet.
Not yet, So you can put Zambuca in those and drop a coffee bean in them. That's an Italian thing that they do with the Zambuca and coffee beans, and the aroma is really nice. I don't like Zambuca, so I don't do that.
Oh, fun. I've never even heard of that. Okay,
It's an
cordial
Italian thing.
glass. So we've all seen them, the teeny
Yep.
tiny.
The
We're like,
tiny.
what? Why? And you have to remember that for a very long time, women were not allowed to drink in public.
Yeah.
They were not allowed. You did not go to a bar as a woman. That was not a thing that happened. So you had cocktails at home. You had an after dinner cordial.
Mm-hmm.
So these were designed to sip cordials and liquors straight, but it was just a small amount, 2 to 3 ounces. And a lot of times you had these after dinner, and they actually had digestive properties.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't that you're just sitting there drinking after dinner. They actually help with digestion, which is something I learned when I started looking into herbal things and bitters and things like that. And I'm just like, what's really the purpose? There were drinks that helped with digestion. So you had your little 2 to 3 ounce. You'd sit around the table after dinner and you would just sip just your little drinky drink.
And yes, sherry, Kathy. That's what my dad has, exactly one like that. It's crystal, and he still saves it to drink. He only has one to drink his sherry out of.
So wine glasses, I think we all know what wine glasses look like. The white wine are going to be tall and slim with an opening that narrows a bit at the top. And then your red wine glasses are going to be large and bowl-like. Hi, Geneva. But these were produced. Now, this is a vintage one. This was my aunt's. It's edged, just gorgeous. But this was a table wine glass. When you're offering white and red, this was just part of your place setting. It go on the table, and the person could pick. So you didn't have to have a specific. Us having very specific wine glasses is more of a modern thing than a vintage thing. This would be the wine glass that went on the table, and then your person could choose. So it's kind of a mix between a white and a red. And then a very modern thing, stemless wine glass. Hi, Lori.
They're my favorite because they're harder to
these,
knock over.
Yep. I literally wrote that. These are good for outside activities. So you're throwing a pool party, people want wine. There you go. They even make them in plastic. They make them in the collapsible rubber ones. They make them so they'll float in the pool. So you got these stemless glasses, which are very much a modern thing. And they're also for clumsy people. They're good if you are drinking wine and you've got a large family gathering and you've got littles running around that might bump the table. These are good for that. But the different, like the wine, there's you can read a whole thing about the different wine glasses. It will break it even down into the different Pinots. It will break it down to a sweet red versus a dry red as to what, like you can get so much more specific about your wine glasses. And I thought, oh, that's a bunch of bunk. Until we had a wine tasting room open in our little village. And it really does make a difference what you drink it out of, because the aromas come up and the different things. So it's really interesting. It's a rabbit hole you can go down to see all of the different wine glass shapes. Anyway, I thought it was interesting. But
yes, and then there's the redneck wine glass, which is the ball jar, mason jar on a stem, the Johnny Depp, what was it, mega pint glass. Yes.
Yep.
Forget that.
All right, so iced tea glasses. And I did learn some interesting things about iced tea. Now, this is, I can't remember, this is a vintage iced tea glass. This is a vintage set, but I'm thinking 70s.
It was cool, though.
Interestingly enough, this giant glass, which they're pretty much the same size, came from Friendly's in 1991 when I worked there. This was the large soda. Oh, so this glass is huge. So this is when glasses started to get big. Iced tea glasses before this would have been smaller, could have been served in a Collins glass, could have been served in a highball, also could have been served like this with a pedestal, because you don't get you get less condensation on your table with the little foot here. So this is a nice tea glass. Isn't that interesting? I learned that today.
Cool.
I did not
I was
know
wondering
that.
what those were for.
And then some other glasses. Your teeny, teeny, tiny juice glasses. These aren't kids' glasses. These are juice glasses. And I think the reason these were so small is because you got up as the lady of the house and you freshly squeezed the orange juice.
Yep.
And that takes a lot of work and a lot of oranges. So
Yep.
you were just going to enjoy a little bit. I think that's, I don't know if that's true or not, but I think that's why orange juices or juice glasses are so tiny. You also, and I learned something new here too. You've also got your punch glasses with your punch bowl, which if you want to read some interesting stuff, go down the rabbit hole about punch bowls, when punch became popular, the queen that wouldn't allow alcohol anymore. So if you've seen the teeny tiny punch glasses and you're like, why is it so small? Those were set specifically made to serve an alcoholic punch, and you took a smaller amount.
Oh.
So then you've got your standard, like this is a standard one. This would have been for a non-alcoholic punch, one with fruit in it or sherbet, which is how my mom makes it. But yeah, the teeny tiny ones, they were specifically for a strong alcoholic punch so that you didn't drink a lot at once because the drinks were very, very strong. And then you've got glasses like this where you're like, I don't know. Is it a low ball? Is it a drinking glass? So if you look at if you look at companies, every company kind of had their own. I think this one is, I don't think it's the Viking. I can't remember. There were like 4 companies that made these. But if you look up different companies, they would do a little bit different thing with their whole, when they did the pattern and put out all of the glasses that went with the pattern. So that was my little glassware presentation.
That's cool. I did not know about pedestal iced tea glasses. So now I know what those are.
Making chandeliers from punch bowls.
And you can go into almost any antique store or thrift shop and find at least one punch bowl loaded with punch cups. But you know what? Don't turn your nose up at them, because some of the most expensive glass to sell for resale, if you get the right one, are punch bowl sets. And I know that sounds crazy, but it's true. I'm saying. Okay, so whenever we seem to do the Q&A, Nikki gets a pet peeve that week, and she says, that's what I'm going to talk about. I'm going to talk about my pet peeve. And it happened. It happened. And it didn't just happen with one thing. It happened with multiple things this weekend when I was out at a bunch of different antique stores, and stuff has been happening over the past couple of weeks. So I'm irritated about it. So I'm going to tell you about it so you can get irritated about it too. No, you're not going to get irritated. So I'm going to start with the most simple thing. All right. I'm going to show everybody and people, pass it on. I'm going to make you pass it. This is Avon. This is an Avon vase. Okay. It is glass on the inside. It does have this almost slightly soft, almost rubbery feel. It's not rubber, but I mean, it has that like almost waxy feel. It smells like old ladies, like really bad old ladies, like not like nice old lady smells, like really bad old ladies. I have seen this, and it came in 3 colors. I have seen this in 2 different antique stores, in not even just 2 different towns, in different counties, separated by an hour-and-a-half ride, listed as pretty fancy vase for $30. This is Avon. This is really easy to Google lens. So my first big pet peeve is antique dealers who usually know their stuff, but just kind of dial it in and then overprice you for something that is Avon. So here's the first one. I mean, everyone's got their Avon collectors, but this literally is not worth more than $5. That's what this is worth right now. So don't get suckered into that. In both places, somebody had them listed for $30 and they didn't know what they were. So there's my first one. Now, reproductions. If you watched my video, I think it was last week, it might have been the week before, I got duped. I bought something off of Whatnot. I don't remember the seller's name. She was adorable. I loved her. I had a lot of fun hanging out with her in her show. And it's not her fault. She was buying stuff and reselling stuff. She never touted herself as being a fancy schmancy, I know what I'm talking about person. So I picked up this little piece, and this is canary glass. So I have, well, this one's not for sale today. This one is. So you can see the slight difference. We've got Vaseline glass and we've got uranium glass. This one is definitely yellow. So now seeing it, she had them all set up. I thought that was really cool. Seeing it, I went, oh, she's only charging $5 for that one. I want that one. That's Vaseline glass. I don't have a piece of Vaseline glass, or canary glass as it was known in Victorian times. And I get it, and I get it home, and I flip it over, and there's this mark on the bottom. I don't know if I'm gonna get to show there. It shows it just a little bit. Right there is a keystone with an R in the center. And I went, crap, I know that mark. This is a reproduction. This is a reproduction. This is a Philip and Helen, because they added Helen's name to it too. Philip and Helen Russo, or Rosso. Now, they started in 1969. They are glass, not glass manufacturers. They are glass resellers, wholesalers. So what they do is occasionally they have people make up pieces for them. This is one of the pieces they made up, and they'll have companies like Moser and Fenton and very well-known companies make something up for them, and then they mark it with their little keystone on the bottom. Well, that's all well and good, but are reproductions actually worth it? Well, because I didn't have it, sometimes you get them a lot cheaper. That's the big thing. Because I didn't have a piece of Vaseline glass, I'm not angry that I now own one, and it's a reproduction that's a way newer reproduction. I mean, it's at least age-wise, the oldest it could be is 1969. So, I mean, it's still over 50 years old, but it could be modern. They're still in business now. You can go on their website. They have a website that you can go on and you can shop their glass, which is great. So reproductions are, the basic thing is reproductions are only worth what they're worth to you. So Indiana glass was a famous reproduction of old stuff. So I was in another antique store this week, and they had a Madrid butter dish. And from a distance, it kind of looked clear until I got up on it. And the Madrid pattern is the one I'm kind of trying to piece together a little collection of. And I got very, very excited because I could see that it was $18. And I was like, that's really good for a, you know, the Federal Glass Madrid pattern butter dish. I was very excited. Then I got up close and I went, that's not the Madrid pad. That's not what it says it is. That's wrong. It says it's Indiana glass, first of all. It says it's depression glass, second of all. And they were half right. So why were they half right? The original Madrid pattern was made in a few colors. It was not made in the color that was sitting in front of me, which was blue. It was made in pink, clear, green, and yellow. And this is the clear one that I'm looking for, and I got excited about that. The way you tell the difference right off the bat, I'm going to really try to get the show up, is the top right here. The seam runs horizontally in the depression glass, in the real depression glass. In the reproductions, and I'll talk about how the reproductions came about, the seam will run horizontally over the top. That's a really big show of how different, how you can tell the difference between the two.
That's good to know.
That's a simple way. That's the simple way. Now, in 1976, Federal Glass was floundering, and Federal Glass is the one that did the Madrid pattern in the 30s. It was 1932 to 1936. It was a very short run. So they reworked and reproduced their Madrid pattern, but only in the color amber, and they titled it the Recollection, and they clearly stamped 1976 on it as to not to confuse collectors of depression glass, because in the 70s and even into the 80s, depression glass was very, very, very collectible. Then they went bankrupt, and Indiana Glass bought out some of their molds, and the Madrid pattern was one of them. And Indiana had a lot of fun reproducing in the 70s the Madrid pattern, which I did not know. Turns out that they not only reproduced the butter dish that I had seen, which was this almost clear glass with that blue tinge. They reproduced them in colors that had never been done before. They reproduced them in a style of glass that had never been done before. So, hey, Chicago lady, be very careful if you're collecting depression glass so that you know. Now, a lot of the newer depression glass will feel very like slimy and slick, and one of the people who collects depression glass says they always feel like they have to wash their hands afterwards. So that's one way to tell that it's not depression glass, or it is depression glass, is the way it feels. And it's just one of those things you kind of have to get used to. So I was very annoyed that the person was half right, and I really hate it when you there you go.
I own it.
You have it. Does it have the vertical seam?
Yeah.
Oh,
The seam goes
that's
this
the
way. And instead, yeah.
that's the piece. So technically it is Indiana glass with a federal mold.
That's
Isn't that wild?
fantastic.
Isn't that wild? So I was half right, they were half right, but I was still irritated at the person for putting down, that it was Indiana depression glass when Indiana didn't make depression glass. So it irritated me.
And we don't expect everybody to know everything.
No.
But it's better to say blue glass than to say the wrong information.
Yeah.
Because if you just label it blue glass, then we're going to do our own research.
Yes.
But
that is exactly
the wrong information is bad. And hi, Jeannie.
Yeah. And they had it listed as a covered dish when in actuality, these are butter dishes.
Yes,
this is
those are butter dishes.
Butter dish. And then the base is a squared off thing because the pattern is squared off. So now repros are fine. We've seen Indiana glass has had great success. There are people who prefer Indiana's carnival glass over the real antique stuff. And Indiana glass, for some reason, are the real pilferers of the glass community. I don't know why, but they really are. Do this all the time, and that's fine if it's something you want. But if it's not something you're expecting, just kind of know before you buy. It's kind of like buyer beware kind of thing. So like there are people out there who are reusing old uranium glass. Here's an example. Here's one. Here's my little skull, my little uranium glass skull. That's not from pre-1940, right? But I wanted it. So I got it. Another example is this, and I got that piece off of Barbie. Another example is this piece right here. This is an arrowhead that is also made out of uranium glass. Don't think they were making uranium glass arrowheads in the 30s and 40s either. I got this piece off of Becky. So it's good to know the provenance of the pieces and, pass them down as best as you can. Now, milk glass is another one. I picked up this piece of milk glass, which looks so pretty. It's a cute little design. It even has a tiny little ring of fire. So I picked it up and went, oh, that's super cool. Like a fool, I don't know why I didn't do it. I flip it over and it says China on the bottom of it. China.
Oh.
Now, I will say, I don't know why I didn't flip it over. I will say this, feeling this, I can feel how slick and slimy it actually kind of is. It is slick and slimy on the inside. Now, I still like the dish. I use it. It holds my little makeup sponge next to my sink, and it's good for my rings in my bathroom, and it's really pretty. But I got fooled going, there's a ring of fire. They use some chemical process to actually make that pop out. Oh, yes. I have a piece of that. I call it sunburned glass. Yes. And to me, I think it's cool. I like that.
I think my piece is really cool, but true collectors think that it is damaged glass and absolutely think it has zero value.
Yes.
But my little piece is gorgeous lavender. I love it. It sits in my bedroom. So there again, it's another do you like it kind of thing.
Yeah. As long as you like it and it's something you want, that's fine. It's more for the people, the irritation, the pet peeve comes from people who are antique dealers in antique stores, and especially the one that I went to, the woman who was in the store, who I don't know if she was running it or owned it or whatever, she was such a snob. And it put me off right away. And everything in the store was massively, like ridiculously overpriced. Like I will never go back to that antique store ever again. When they're selling cabinet card photos of boring people for $15 and they're this big, and massively overpriced. Like they don't have their pulse on the market. And you find one of these priced for $30, and you find an imitation reproduction from 1970s or even later of a butter dish that is mislabeled. You're just like, that kind of puts a really bad taste in your mouth. So if you all have food, be kind of cognizant at the very least. And you know what? I've got killer deals from people who don't know what stuff is, and that's fine. Green glass, pink glass vase. But it's as simple as sometimes Google Lens. Sometimes it is just as simple as Google Lens. And that's kind of my soapbox. Okay? I climbed up on my soapbox. Yes, and I like it too. I have a piece of that. And I didn't realize when I first held it up and sold it, it was one of my first sales. I said, look at this pretty lavender glass. This is so rare. You don't find it in this color. And then the other seller was like, it's the magnesium. It sat in the sun too long. And I went, okay, never mind. But it's still early American pressed glass. And it's still really pretty. It now currently sits on my coffee bar and holds my sugar packets. I'm fine with that. I'm fine with it. It made me happy, you know? Yeah, I won't argue with them either. I think we spent 5-10 minutes in the store and I was like, we're done. Let's go. I'm not even interested. And when every freaking case is locked and there's nothing you can do, there's so much you can't really put and it's stupid stuff that's locked up too, you know? Like, I'm not going to put an ice bucket underneath my coat and walk out with it. You're going to see it. That's all. That's like I said. That was my soapbox. So I'm sorry. These always turn into my soapbox moment. So,
do you want to go ahead and start since you're up?
All right.
Or do you want me to since you've been talking?
Go ahead. I need a sip.
Okay. See, for me, if you see, I've switched back here. This is my salt dip, salt cellar collection back here. And some of those are reproductions. I don't care. I love them. I got them cheap. They make me happy. So I don't care that they're reproductions. But if I were to start selling off my collection, I would look up to make sure that I wasn't saying they were original if they were reproductions. So reproductions aren't bad. You just have to know if you're going to sell.
Yeah, the cases were double locked. John was right. And I feel you, Becky. I get that too. And I absolutely hate that as well.
Oh, I love standing in the antique store and having somebody strongly explain to you what depression glass is as you're looking at the reproduction that they've got outrageously priced. Love that. Okay, my first item today is this gorgeous crystal tumble up, and it is signed. This is block crystal, and it won't come through, but it is etched right here, block. It is also etched on the bottom. Yeah, you're not gonna be able to see it, but it is etched block crystal. It's beautiful. This is made in Poland. It's mouth blown and hand cut and just gorgeously polished. See, ooh, it's so good. Polished here too. So handmade. It doesn't have a sticker. It just has the block. I was able to look it up from it being etched. And it is, I gotta find my ruler, 8 inches tall. 8 inches tall. Crystal tumble up, no chips, no cracks, no damage. Beautiful. $25, number 8. $25, number 8 on the tumble up. I actually, Kathy, have these on a different shelf usually, and I just moved them back here because I'm going to do a little video about them, and they were starting to get double stacked on that shelf because I need a second shelf. Hi, Pam. Okay, no, not that piece. Then I got distracted. And speaking of salt dips, I found this listed online by a couple of different people as a double open salt dip. There's a divide in between the basket here. This is fired on blue color. So I don't know if it is or not. Somebody, and I only found one person that had it listed with an actual name. They said that it was Westmoreland.
That's the vibe.
By Summit Art. And what'd you say?
That's the kind of vibe I got off of Westmoreland. Yeah.
Yeah. Summit Art was another one that would purchase and sell through them, but they didn't actually make it. So I don't know. But it's this big. It's just a little one. Not quite 4 inches long. To the top of the handle, it's 2 3/4, but just the amount of space in the actual basket is 1.5 inches. So it's just a cute little.
You know what this would be great for? All those fancy different salts. A good friend of mine here, she does them. She does like smoked salts and black sea salt. That would be great to have out on the table at the
Yeah.
summertime with different seasoned salts.
Yeah, we've done that before with smoked salt and salt
Yeah.
cellar. Yep. $10, number 7. $10, number 7. And those are my two. I thought about Kathy using some of the wooden spools as risers because I've seen people do that too. I just got them slapped up there. I haven't messed around with them yet. They're still dusty. I haven't even dusted them.
Yeah. Okay. First up, I have probably my weirdest piece. This is a 1960s Inca Peru. It's from Lima, Peru. This is the Inca man. His face is a little on the realistic side. I mean, he's etched in out of the glass. This is flashed on top, so it's black flashed on top or stained, but splashed. It is a brandy bottle. So here is the top of the bottle.
So cool.
It's just a neat piece. I like figural bottles. I do have a thing for them. So there's this little stamp in the back, Lima, Peru. Now these came in many different colors. And this one was actually in pretty good shape. It's just around 11.5 inches tall. So I don't know, it'd be neat for Halloween or just honestly, just to have it out as just a little weird piece. And he's just really cool. He's in really good condition. His paint's all still there and everything. And I will very carefully dust him off because he does have a little bit, because he was sitting near my open window. Still got a little bit of stuff there, but be very, very careful when I wash him off. So if you're interested in this guy right here, he's going to be $18, number 89. $18, number 89 on this guy. He's one of my favorites. I love the weird stuff. Okay. And as promised, here is my little eye wash. This is uranium glass. It does not have a marking on the bottom. This one is mark free. It's got double seams. It is in really good condition. And it does, of course, we glow. We glow. I don't know why I'm so drawn to these lately. Every time I see them, I kind of think they're neat. Maybe it's because I have really bad eye allergies and I feel like they would clean my eyeballs. Because I'm going to clean the crap out of this canary one and I'm going to use it just for that. I'll let you know if they really work well. I have a feeling they would. So this guy right here, and if you don't have one of these in your uranium collection, it's cool to have one. 2.5 inches tall, this little tiny guy here. And if you had a small enough air plant, you could kind of stick one in there. It would work. But just to display it on its own in your little uranium cabinet is awesome. And if you're interested in this guy, he's going to be $10, number 73. $10, number 73. And those are my two.
I almost started collecting those like 20 years ago because they were little and back then they were super cheap. And then I decided not to. And now I'm like, man, I wish I had started collecting those 20 years ago.
Because they have gone up in price, believe it or not, which is weird.
All right. I have the Fenton Custard Hobnail Fairy Lamp. This has been in my collection for a while. I have decided to let it go in case anybody's looking for this color. And of course, it glows. Let me turn off my ring light. Super glow. Fenton Custard is always just going to have the most fantastic glow. And as far as I know, now I'm going to check it over again. I don't believe it has any chips to crack. It has the remnant of the sticker and March Fenton on the bottom. Oh my gosh. And when I was looking this up to make sure I was pricing it right, somebody had this listed as Antique Fenton Fairy Lamp marked Fenton. Like, there again, do your research, people. Do your research. So I found no chips, no cracks. It's just so pretty. We all know what these look like. Such a good glow. Oh, so pretty.
Oh, they do glow nice. The Fenton Custard glows some of the best.
Yeah, it really does. $45, number 20. $45, number 20. And Kathy, I wasn't worried about these getting knocked over, but now I am, because generally there's so much stuff on that back shelf, my cats don't mess with it. But with everything being low, I'm like, oh no, are the cats going to mess with it? All right, if you saw my haul, one of my hauls a couple weeks ago, I picked up this party light frosted candle holder. It's this size, so it is a nice size. It's just over 4 inches tall. And this one is really pretty because it shades deeper to lighter. And depending on the lighting you've got it in, it looks blue, it looks pink, it looks purple. So just a simple party light candle holder. But I love the frosted and satin glass for this time of year. And this is just so springy. So this one is $15, number 14. $15, number 14. And those are my 2. Thank you guys for hanging out with us.
I like the spring. I've been really attracted to a lot of the party light stuff. They made some really cool stuff.
Oh,
they
yeah.
Really
they made some fantastic stuff.
Yeah. Okay. Next up, I have my last piece of Costa Boda. Last piece. This is a nice size. Like, this is the size of my fist. This is a really good sized one. So it still has, let's see if I can get it to show up. It's Costa Boda sticker right there. There we go. And it was obviously bought at a gift store because it has the gift maker also on the bottom. And then inside or etched on is Costa Boda right up there as well. So this is tea light holder. This is Chunky Monkey. Like, you could seriously, we were talking about slamming glasses down in bars. In England, they call it glassing somebody when you get hit over the head with a glass. They call it, you got glass. You could seriously glass somebody with this. You'd probably kill them, so don't do that. But, you know, think of it as a defensive weapon. But I think this time of the year, they'd be really neat to have these sitting out on your decks, your porches, your patios, what have you. All right, so this guy across in diameter is 3 inches and 3 inches. So he's a 3-inch globe size guy. So if you're interested in this guy right here, it's going to be $12, number 90. $12, number 90 on this one. I really like the Swedish glass. I've kind of been attracted to that lately.
I like the shape of that one more than the snowball.
Yeah,
I love the shape of that one.
I think they call this one igloo. I could be wrong. This might be the igloo.
You know what it reminds me of? The old Superman movie where he had his cave.
Yes. Yes,
I think that's exactly
what it reminds me of. That was good. This is now, and it's going to Jazzy. Jazzy is the sci-fi freak. So this is now the what is it? The Fortress of Solitude. The Fortress of Solitude, Costa Boda. That's great. I love that. All right, next up, I have a piece of carnival glass. This is Dugan, so this is antique. Now you judge. I love that everyone's laughing at that. You judge by the bottom color, not the top color. Although this is a marigold color, it is clear on the bottom, which is kind of cool. All right, it's a smaller one. It's the smaller little open ones. This is open rose or dogwood. This is the pattern. I just have a thing for antique carnival glass, and I've started to notice that in a lot of the antique and vintage shops, that it is slowly creeping back up there in price.
Yeah.
The carnival glass. I mean, because I saw this weekend and I wanted it, and I almost bought it for myself, even though it had a little chip in it. It was black amethyst carnival glass, and they wanted $12, and there was a significant chunk taken out of the side of the little ruffly edges. The other stuff was $30 to $40. So that's not going to be the price of this here, but this is the perfect for this time of the year. It's the colors that I like for spring. So if you're interested in the Dugan smaller guy here, this thing, it's going to be $18, number 75. $18, number 75. And those are my 2.
That's so pretty. All right, I also have a piece of antique glass. This spooner, oh my goodness, if you guys saw my haul, then you'll know that the garage sale I was at, the guy was charging more for a swan that had Caye's collection on it and came from the Dollar Tree that he was charging for this. It was filthy. And I was sure at first I was like, well, that's ceramic, but I like the flower on it. So I picked it up and I'm like, that's glass. And I'm like, no way. Yep. So I brought it home. I did a search and there is one listed with a different flower on it. And the person was kind enough to put the original ad for the glass company in the pictures that they put it on eBay with. So it is antique early American pattern glass from 1884, the oval medallion pattern. It's a spooner, and it was by Challenor Taylor and Company, which is a glass company we haven't even heard of before.
No.
So this was hand painted on here, and it looked like each of them was done differently. From piece to piece. So the one they had listed had a totally different flower on it. Same colors though, which was interesting. Now there is, oh, it's not even going to show it. There's a little bit of staining in the bottom and there is a little bit of chipping. In Victorian days, spooners were set on the sideboard where food was served from and you just grabbed your spoon out of it. They literally held spoons. That's what a spooner is. Right now, the spooner, antique spooner I've got is holding my makeup brushes. So this is the biggest chip on it right here, but it is on the inside and it's soft. That's how old the chip is. And then there are some flea bites along the edge because this piece is over 100 years old.
But they would be, you can use spooners to make planters, absolutely, all because
And
they
that's
have
what
a
it was.
Yeah.
It was used as a planter. The
Yeah.
staining is dirt staining because this was used as a planter. And it is 5 1/4 inches tall and 4 1/2 inches wide. And if it was a color that matched my bedroom, it would have gone straight into my bedroom. You guys never would have seen it.
It's really pretty. Do you mean the purple? Did you mean the purple one? Yeah.
No, it's not. It just changes colors because of the shading on it. It's just party light. So it's only $20. $20, number 13 for the antique milk glass. And I only put 20 on it because it does have this chip right here. And then it has some staining and some little flea bites along it. But it is gorgeous. Gorgeous. And my second piece, it seems like I don't have a lot of Blendo fans in here. But Blendo, 1960s, I love Blendo. I think it's fantastic. I've got the juice pitcher and the juice glasses for this little set. Bought that for myself a couple summers ago. But this is the regular pitcher, not the juice pitcher. So I think it's like a 1/2 gallon pitcher. It is in really, really good condition. There's no damage to the gold. There's no damage to the white. No chipping at all.
And so Blendo used to be hard to keep in stock. People wanted it. They used to scoop it up like crazy.
$25, number 9. $25, number 9. And I recently learned that there were companies that mimicked Blendo, but they didn't have the gold. So if it doesn't have the gold on it, it might not just be worn off because of age. It might have been a reproduction and not actual Blendo. And those are my 2.
Oh, that's so, I like the Blendo. Okay. This is kind of my clear glass round. So I've shown this before, but it's that time of season when we're starting to cut flowers. I finally actually have daffodils outside. And I kind of thought, even though this is similar to a decanter, I just thought it would be a really neat little vase for flowers. You put some fun little colored gravel down the bottom or stones, put some water in, and have a pretty little fun vase. This is Pilgrim glass. Still has its sticker there, and it's a nice little bell-shaped jar. It would be really cool if this didn't have the bottom. But this is super thin. My fingerprints are now all over it. I'm sorry. super thin, highly polished, hand-blown glass. Most of Pilgrim's stuff was hand-blown. So this piece in particular is just really pretty. It's just, it'll look nice with all your little spring flowers in it. That's what I'm saying. Height-wise, this guy is 10 inches. 10 inches tall, and it's really, really lightweight. Reminds me of scientific equipment.
Yeah.
Like that lightweight feel to it. All right, so if you're interested in the Pilgrim vase decanter, maybe I made something up. I don't know. $12, number 91. $12, number 91 on this guy. And then my next piece, and I only have one of them, and you guys know Claudia and I are not afraid to pick up one candle holder. I had a pair of these a couple weeks ago in the red with the cadmium in them. This is the clear one. And what I didn't know then, but I know now, these had a very limited run. These only ran, let me make sure I get this right. Yeah, 1932 to 1936, Fenton. So this is Fenton from the 30s. But now I guess it kind of makes sense, you know? Yeah, if it was smaller amount, it would be awesome for a terrarium, totally. So this is the solo one. This is pattern number 848, and some people are calling them lotus, which I totally get. It kind of looks like a little lotus flower. I love the little 3 feet on the bottom. And for some reason, the feet and the base remind me of imperial glass. A lot of imperial glass 3-footed jars were very similar to this, but this is Fenton, number 848, 1932, 1936. And if you're interested in this guy, he's going to be $10. $10, number 74, because these have gone up in value just since I sold the last ones. I can't even believe. Fenton's going back up there, peoples. And those are my 2.
All right. It's the big crystal candy dish that I thrifted last week. So you probably saw it in the haul, but I have not had it up for sale yet. I saved it for you guys. This is it's awesome. It's stunning. It's huge. And it is this weird shape. It's wide. It's fantastic.
It's the top that does it for me.
Yeah. So all the way up to the tippy top, it is 10.5 inches, I believe. But it's amazing. It's amazing. And there is no chips or cracks to this, which is just unreal that this has not been damaged at all. And it's got strawberries etched on it. Strawberries. I could not identify the company.
Kathy's right. Does look a little like a German helmet.
It's definitely crystal, but I couldn't identify the company. It's not marked in any way. It feels like the crystal from West Germany in the 80s. It does have a nice flash to it as it catches the light. Scroll feet, of course. And it's heavy. I love it. I think it's amazing.
It's such an unusual shape.
Oh, yeah. The shape's weird. Yeah. The top is weird. I got to set it down. It's super heavy. It is $20, number 18. $20, number 18. And there were several of these online. Some of them were listed as other crystal companies. I don't agree with them. And they had them for $70 to $90. To me, it feels like, and maybe it is a better company, but it feels like West Germany kind of crystal, which I still enjoy, like Princess House and some of those. All right. And then I've got choice of Fenton bears because I found a second one. So you guys have seen the February bear before with his little purple heart. And now I've got this one. And I can't tell if it's a ruby or alexandrite.
Or a garnet.
So I don't know which color, which month this goes to. Not alexandrite. Garnet is what I meant. Yeah. I don't know which month it goes to. It's got a red heart. So I did come down a little bit in price from what I was asking for this one before. So choice, $12 each. And they are, hi Leanne, number 16. Number 16. Fenton bears. And of course, they're both marked Fenton. Here's the bottoms.
Maybe they
The
were made for
backs
both
are-
months. They just use the red, and you could say, okay, it's January or it's
Yeah.
July. And that works in my family because my mother was born in January and both my boys were born in July. So it would be both. Okay, this is going to be kind of a twofer. Claudia was doing barware, so I brought a set of my barware. I have a set of 4. Let's see if I can do this. Let's see if I can do this. 4. Tom Collins by Libby. These are the silver leaf. This one is, they came in gold, they came in silver. This is the silver leaf. And like any good glass, there's always a few that are used more than the others. So some of them have very minor wear. This has a little bit of minor wear right up here on the tippy top of the silver. And it's always the little bars, right? Whereas this one, is it this one right here? Oh, it's the next one. This one has like no wear to it whatsoever. Like this one wasn't used at all. This one was in the back of the cabinet. There's always one favorite glass, right? That just keeps getting used. So they have frosted and silver leaves. You get the set of 4, all 4. And if you like these and you're interested in these, I also have the matching ice bucket that I will throw in for $5. And the ice bucket is the gold and kind of silver leaf. It has a little bit of both. But these are the silver ones that I picked up. I just think they're pretty. You know what? You don't have to drink a Tom Collins out of these. You can use them for lemonade. You can use them for fancy water. Why not? Have fun. So if you're interested in these, and like I said, if you want the ice bucket too, I can throw in the ice bucket too for an extra $5. The whole set of 4 is going to be number 93 for $16. They're not $93, people. 16. See that one right there. $16, number 93 for the set of 4 Tom Collins Libby glasses. There'll be my first one. This is Nikki's first screw up of the night. All right, and I had to pick this up. It reminded me first of all, it's totally 80s. So it's got pewter roses on the bottom for the base there. Really, really pretty. And the very bottom of the base. It is stamped made in Taiwan somewhere. It was stamped made in Taiwan somewhere. Let me put it that way. So I'm going to take it apart. So here's the base. And it comes with the candle. I will throw in the candle. The base is the heaviest bit. And you've got the glass, almost like a hurricane lamp. Great for your patio, and the candle. So this whole little setup here. Oh, card parties, that's cool. 6 inches. 6 inches tall. And it just, I don't know, it was like a throwback to the 80s. Totally total throwback. And once again, I thought it was great for outdoors because how many times you're outdoors, you burn a candle and the wind comes and there goes your candle. Well, maybe this will help. I don't know. So if you're interested in this guy right here, it's going to be $12, number 85. $12, number 85 on that one. And those are my 2. And hello.
I love that.
I figured you would because of the roses.
Hello. I hope I said your name right.
I know. I tried to say it too.
All right. My next item, little bud vase. And this is hand blown. You can see the console right there. Kind of rough around the edges. And it's got this, it's light purple with this gorgeous swirl through it. And then a nice shape here. This one is at its highest point, 7.5 inches tall. So just a bud vase, but spring flowers, like Nikki said, this is the time of year. So if you want something new and pretty to put your spring flowers in, we've got it. This one's going to be $12, number 1. $12, number 1. Then my last item for the day. It's a bread plate tiara. It is a nice heavy bread plate. It is this big. Give us this day our daily bread. No chips, no cracks, and it is this beautiful blue color. So let me show you. There, you can really see the blue. So pretty with that blue color. And it is just $12, number 5. $12, number 5. And those are my 2.
Okay, sticking with our spring and flower theme. All right, this piece is done by an artist. I'm gonna try to pronounce her name right. Marjolijn Baston. I'm probably massacring her name too. She's a Dutch artist. She does a lot of pretty. She was a children's illustrator, but then she moved on and does lots of pretty little design glasses. This is a little sun catcher. I'm gonna call it a marigold sitting there with some butterflies. I love this little piece over here on the side. That's why I'm putting the paper behind it so y'all can see. It's so pretty. This is a newer piece. This isn't a super vintage piece by any stretch of the imagination. It has the little faux copper little hanger there. And I love my little sun catchers that I have. And I get weird ones. I don't get I get unusual looking ones. I have a big tree of life one with a prism and the little black pieces that, yes, she did the Hallmark series. Yes,
Hi, Robert.
yes, Robert. Yes, that was exactly it. And this one, I couldn't find this exact one online, but I found ones that were very, very similar. It's just a really pretty little piece. It's 6 inches tall, and it does have the beveled edge and my fingerprints all over it now. So I like these. I love when they throw the sun around. It makes me happy. So if you're interested in this piece right here, it's going to be $8, number 87. $8, number 87. And I don't know if you all saw, I put it on Instagram. Some of you probably saw it. This weekend, I did not buy it. Okay, I'm going to preface, I did not buy it. John and I found the biggest piece of plexiglass I've ever seen in my entire life.
All that.
I swear the thing was probably about 2 feet around, and the lariat on it was like the size of my finger. The little loops were like that big. I was like, we just have to take a picture and show it. So if you haven't seen it, check out my Instagram so you can see just how John's holding it up, just how super big this, because you know Claudia and I would like our high C class, and I wanted you all to be able to see some of that. Oh, that's cool. There's a book that she did, and I cannot remember, something about a mouse, something about a mouse, but I just can't remember what the name of it is. Okay, last up, I have my Ruby Fenton slipper, little hobnails. Now, when I was getting ready for the show, I was like, I didn't check to see if that glowed. And then I did. And oh my goodness, does it. The whole panel just lights up like crazy. And of course, it's so hard to show. Let me see if I turn it later on. It's hard to get Amberina to show up on camera. There we go. I don't know if this is going to be any better or not. Oh, there we go.
Oh, yeah. Ooh.
The whole shoe, all the way around, the heel. So this is like true heavy-duty cadmium. Okay. So this one is not marked Fenton, so pre-1970, because it's got no Fenton mark. And it also doesn't have, a lot of the Fenton shoes have that little, like, I don't know, thumbprint. Like, I feel like you put your thumb in it. I had to have it. I have a green one. I have a milk glass one. And I was like, oh, I'm going to offer the red one. And then I went, oh my gosh, it's the most Amberina thing I've ever seen. So we know it, with the cat playing, and not the ugly cat. I have had an ugly cat one that was gray and it was slag glass, and the cat was hideous looking. This one's the normal one. No chips, no cracks. Everything's in a really good order right here. And if you're interested in this one, it's going to be $16, number 78. $16, number 78 for my little red shoe. Oh, good. It was ridiculous. That piece of Glass was just ludicrous. And I was like, if I had a place to put it, I probably would have bought it. Nobody has a place to put a 2.5, 3 foot Heisey lariat.
It was so big.
There was no, I mean, it was like this big, and nobody has a place for that. Unless you're
You
really
would have
wealthy.
to have an estate.
That's what I'm saying. Unless you're really wealthy.
Oh my
But
goodness.
I had to share that with you guys because we talk about this stuff all the time, and I didn't know Heisey made anything that big. It was ridiculous.
It was astonishing.
It was, yeah.
All right. So next week, we're going to talk about the history of fairy lamps.
Fairy lamps. Fairy lamps.
And maybe sell one.
Yeah. Let's see if I have any. No, it's something that I want to sell. Like, I'll show off my masterpiece and my Fenton owl, and that I'll show off of them, and then I'll sell those.
Yeah, I have a Fenton owl, and I've been thinking about putting it up for sale. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
her here. That's awesome. Oh my Lord.
All
And we know
right,
fairy lamps are kind of like this, but there are other types of fairy lamps. They're not just like the fairy lamps you all think of. There's other types of ones that are called different things. So
do you have whatnot going on this week?
I do. I have I'm doing antique and vintage ephemera Thursday night, 7 p.m. on Whatnot. So tune in if you like that stuff. It's really cool and fun and pretty.
And I will be selling clothes that I had thrifted that
Ooh.
I am now gotten too small to wear on Wednesday. I asked and you guys said yes, you were interested. So that's what I'll have for sale on Coffee Chat and a small sale on Wednesday.
Awesome.
But as of right now, that's all I've got going on this week.
Oh, well, as usual, I'll have a static sale on Wednesday on my channel. So pop in there. You might find some really cool stuff. I've got some big eyed kids I'm selling. So check them out, guys. A little mix of this and that. Oh my God, I think that's awesome. I think it's awesome that you now have to like have new clothes. It's the best feeling.
Well, I never got rid of my other clothes that I had gotten too fat for. So I pulled everything out of my closet and tried everything on. And I'm like, oh, I haven't been able to wear this skirt in 5 years. Oh, I haven't been able to wear this dress since I think it was my 40th birthday when I wore that dress. And I'm like, that was 10 years ago. So yeah, it is cool.
That's awesome.
I'm enjoying it.
I hope so. It's the best feeling. It really is. When you lose a bunch of weight, you're like, holy moly. Yeah.
Yep.
Congratulations.
Thanks for hanging out with us today, guys. And we will see you in the chats this week, I am sure.
Yep. Bye, guys.